Hey, what's going on, team? It's Ricky with TechPut Solutions, and I wanted to update you guys on natural gas, what is going on with crude oil, and how it's beginning to recover and the overall market, and also a series of stocks that I'm putting together to simply watch as the market hopefully begins to recover, and once we get proper indication that we can slowly actually begin to invest in it. So one of the first things that I want to talk about is because I have such a large focus on natural gas, I just thought that I would talk a little bit more about it and what caused it to push up today. So one of the things that you guys could see is that natural gas is up 7.42% on the day, at least the overall future is. And one of the main reasons is there's this news or article that was released about natural gas output expectations to be down. And one of the things that I don't think enough people understand is that due to the big drop of crude oil yesterday, they began to slow down production or cut back on production for overall crude oil. One of the things that a lot of people don't understand is that natural gas is a byproduct of crude oil, meaning that when they frack for crude oil, they bring up natural gas. So by slowing down production, right, of crude oil, it will then therefore slow down production of overall natural gas, balancing things out, therefore acting or overall reacting like this with this overall bullish sentiment. So one of the things that I wanted to explain is what is exactly going on. One of the things that I want you guys all to understand is this is based off of expectation. One of the other things that I wanted to remind you is on this 180-day chart on the technical side, right? Not fundamental, but on the technical side, you guys can look at /NG and do your own analysis, please. But one of the things that really stood out to me is that at least for the past 4 to 5 months, natural gas has not really done a good job holding above the overall SMA line. It's continuously got rejected. And with the combination of the coronavirus and China being an overall big consumer of natural gas and therefore most likely not going to meet expectations during this week of the natural gas report, it being very close or above the overall SMA line and due to previous patterns normally getting rejected, this overall expectation of output of natural gas being down, I just don't see this to be a good mix for overall natural gas for the longevity of it. I think it's only a matter of time for it to actually sell off. But again, confirmation is key, and as of right now, crude oil and natural gas are both in the green. If anything, natural gas is still making new highs as of right now. So I would take it day by day, but I would really look a little bit more into it, take a little bit more time to inform yourself about what is going on, big picture for natural gas, and if you actually think that it's going to continue to increase in price. I just want to make sure that we don't enter any hopeful swing trades for natural gas or for you guys when it's already so overbought on the day and on the 180-day chart. Now, moving on to crude oil, one of the things that I want to talk about is that it opened up green today. We received some good news overnight or in the morning that it comes down to Russia wanting to reconsider or talk again with Saudi Arabia about the OPEC deal that they had going on. So not only did crude oil actually begin to show signs of recovery, but the overall market actually opened up in the green, which I think is a great sign. One of the things that I do want to remind you is I posted this little meme yesterday when it comes down to overall market conditions. People think that because something had a big drop like we saw yesterday, that is the bottom and that it has to recover. That's not necessarily the case. I'm not a big believer when it comes down to buying the dip, especially when there's no proper indication of an actual recovery. And all I'm here to remind you and all I'm here to share is just because something went low does not mean that it can't go any lower. So instead of trying to buy the dip and go all in on a stock that still doesn't show full indication of an overall reversal, I think the best thing that we can do during this time and during this time of uncertainty is, instead of trying to have an opinion about everything, to actually take time to inform yourself about what is going on and the niche that you want to pay attention to. One of the things that I'm doing during this time is, after having a conversation with my brother about what companies I would consider to invest in long term, we were sharing a series of different companies, and I did this with the Learn Plan Profit group this morning, and what companies we think, based off of how cash rich they are and based off of how necessary they are, we think that can make it through an actual depression. And the reason that I'm considering this is there's no question that the market is oversold. We're presented with a series of deals, but if we do go through an actual depression, there's no such thing as a bulletproof watch list, but what stock can I put together that I think that can make it through an overall depression? And a lot of people, I think, just due to the hype, began to share Tesla, and because of how well it was doing, I personally think, and again, this is just my opinion, I love Tesla and everything that it stands for, but I do not think that Tesla is cash rich enough or sustainable enough or would have enough demand during a depression, because it's simply not a necessity. Do I think it's an amazing company? Do I think it stands for everything it is that us entrepreneurs, strive to be? 100%, but I just don't think that is enough for it to be able to sustain itself during an overall depression. A series of companies based off of how cash rich they are, based off of overall just what a big footprint they have in our overall economy would be companies like Microsoft, would be companies like Facebook, would be companies like Amazon, would be companies like Bank of America. And again, these are all based off of my opinion. And the other company that I wanted to talk about was Berkshire Hathaway, right? There's a series of different companies that are very cash rich, very essential to our overall economy, and have such a big overall footprint to our overall economy itself. And all I'm here to share is those are the stocks that I'm watching, and I'm still building my watch list. I might cherry pick some out, I might cherry pick some in, but all I'm doing now is really just trying to build a watch list of stocks that I would really consider investing long-term, not just for a year, not just for 2 years, but actually building my portfolio in which that I can hold for 20 to 30 years, that I think that these companies are, again, sustainable enough that can make it through depression and continue to increase in price, where I can therefore still benefit from this overall deal that we are currently presented. I would really love if you guys can take a little bit of time to gather a list of stocks that you guys see value in, that you think that can actually recover and make it through an overall depression. I would love to see what watch lists, which series of stocks that you guys put together. And again, just be sure to drop that down in the comments section. And I think that a lot of us can benefit from just sharing ideas with one another, just like I simply shared with you today. So again, don't forget to stay connected. We are the largest group on Facebook for those who day trade in the stock market. And that's going to be that first link down below to stay connected. Don't forget to drop a thumbs up if you feel like I earned it, and don't forget to subscribe. Like always, team, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take it easy, team.